I remember being a kid, running my hand over the glossy parts on the cover of the Majora's Mask guidebook, and just opening it up every so often to a random page. I was so bad at video games back then, and I have to admit, I've still never finished Majora's Mask. I got filtered by the Water Temple boss. But that didn't stop me from looking ahead to the Stone Tower Temple and the equipment and items that you'd find there. I normally hate spoilers. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm the person I am today from all the stories and characters, from all the role-playing games I played as a kid. Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Knights of the Old Republic, Fallout, and so many more. So trust me when I say I hate spoilers, especially story ones. But there was something so fun about guidebooks. It didn't feel like spoiling. It was more like hyping you up. You crack open the Ocarina of Time guide and see that way off towards the end of the game, you get the hover boots, and you get excited. There's that kind of stuff in this game? As an imaginative kid, it didn't even matter if I never reached that point. It was just so much fun to look. I love the feel of a worn guide, with little rips in the pages, the folded up inserts wrinkled with pieces of tape stuck to them from when you would hang them on your wall. So, I love guidebooks. And I have a lot of them. Like, a lot. Some thin, extremely used, missing chunks from the cover and the spine barely holding on. Some hardcover, still in peak condition. I should probably do something to protect them, since they aren't getting any better and some of them do look like a dog took a bite out of them. I looked all over the internet, on Reddit, on forums, just doing research on how people preserve their guidebooks. But as we know, I'm a librarian. Book preservation is kind of my thing. How can I combine the two in a way that is cheap and accessible for everyone, but also responsible? The closest thing I thought of that matches the size of most game guides is magazines. So I went online and bought these plastic magazine holders. Along with those, I bought some of these magazine boards that you can put in the back so they don't bend. I got out my measuring tape, made sure the measurements were correct, and they were too small. It looks nice, doesn't it? But the guidebook is just a little too big and is way too snug. It might have to do with how the spine is a little puffed out from being used so much. Also, the plastic sleeve began to split at the top, and there's no way I'm fitting a magazine board in here. Well, that sucks, but I liked the general idea, so I went out and bought a bigger size. This one fits, with the magazine board and everything, though with some caveats. You have to fold the edges in so they don't bunch up or have the magazine sliding everywhere in the bag. It's a little annoying to do, but what I found works best is to fold the top flap down first, and then the side. Also, you can use a little scotch tape or removable tape on the back to keep the flaps from coming apart. Remember, the point of all this is preservation, but also use. I'm gonna look at these again. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next year. I'm still in the middle of playing the Dragon Quest III remake. This guide might come in handy. I don't want to seal these away so they end up somewhere in a basement, again. Hardcover guides are durable. In the book world, typically hardcover books use better, more durable, and long-lasting paper. These can sit fine on your shelf with or without protection. I guess that's kind of up to your personal preference. This is what it looks like sleeved up. I'm not sure if I'll keep it that way. I'd definitely make sure to dust your shelf though, especially if you're not wrapping them up. I'm of the opinion that guidebooks just aren't the same these days. There's a few reasons for this. What's the point of a guidebook when the game gets a day one patch that changes everything? It feels like the expectations of people who play games versus the vision of the people who make them are so often mismatched. The loudest voices appear and say, "This isn't the game we want, change it, make it better." Imagine getting a guide for a modern AAA game on release. Then try to reference it 2 years from now with however many patches and DLC come out. The game has fundamentally changed. To be fair, this isn't a new phenomenon. Old guidebooks would often use pre-release builds, and sometimes could have errors. But that's a far cry from some of the changes that happen to games today, given that half of them are live services. Also, players just got too good and too invested in games. Websites like GameFAQs made guides freely available to anyone with an internet connection, and allowed normal players to write their own guides. Did anyone else grow up dreaming you'd be some GameFAQs big shot writing guides for all your favorite games? No, just me. Before I had proper internet access as a kid, I'd spend time after school in the computer lab reading game facts guides. Caveat here is that the quality may vary. Please don't believe everything you see online, especially about the Mew under the truck. Some guides are just there to preserve history now. I have guidebooks of Guild Wars 1 and old World of Warcraft expansions. The very nature of an MMO is that it changes over time, with years of feedback and content updates. I don't think I'm rating Black Temple and Burning Crusade the same way in 2025 as I did way back when. They're still cool though. They're important moments in game history, snippets of recorded knowledge of yesterday, things to be traded around at recess. They deserve to be preserved. And ultimately, they're always cool to look at. I still find myself going back and flipping through, reminiscing and feeling nostalgic about experiences and memories I had 20 years ago. This is where the video was originally going to end, but that felt kind of cheap. I didn't even share all that much. So I'm going to ramble on for a bit about a couple things and show off some of my favorite guidebooks. This one was a limited edition Kingdom Hearts 2 guide that came out alongside the game. I remember the day I went after school to pick up my copy from GameStop, and I just had to buy the guidebook too. The cover on the inside would show off one of Sora's forms from the game, and it would be random which one you got, and I remember feeling a little cheated that I got Valor. But I guess that means there's lots of variations of this one out there. I noticed that the front few pages are completely detached from the book. If you have any repair tips, please let me know. It's kind of an issue that can come up when these books are thick but have paper covers. Speaking of which, here's a little tip for you. Not sure if it applies to most guidebooks, but it's good book preservation practice anyway. Let's say you're moving and packing books away or putting them in storage for an extended period of time. Do not line up the books like this. The side of the book that you open with the pages visible is called the foredge. Lining the spine upwards puts strain on the spine because of gravity, and after a long time can really damage it. If you line them spine down, it takes away all that stress. You can also of course place them flat on top of one another, which might be the preferred way if you have lots of guidebooks or magazine-sized things to store. Here's one of my most used guidebooks for one of my favorite games, Star Ocean Till the End of Time. You might have seen the retrospective I made several years ago about it. Given the tons of private actions, party member affinity, and side quests, this guide almost felt necessary. The part I use the most is this folded up insert that has all the item creation combinations in the game, with who can make what, how much it costs, and the requirements to make it. If we were in a library, this would be taken out of the book and put in its own special storage because of how fragile it is. Anyway, that's it. I love guidebooks. I loved them as a kid, and I wish they were still as relevant or as cool as they used to be. What are some of your favorite guides? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, take care and make sure to like the video.